Hello and welcome to another episode of Laptop Retrospective. And today we have another ThinkPad here on the table. This is the ThinkPad X13 Gen 2, and this is the Intel variant. These also came with AMD chips as well, and they do differ a little bit, so we're going to be focusing on the Intel variant today. And this one is actually pretty fully loaded. So these came out in 2021, the earlier part of, and they are 11th generation Intel CPUs. So it is a 13.3 inch display, and we're looking at a 16:10 aspect ratio, so no 16:9 anymore. Most of the displays were 1920 by 1200 with various brightness configurations and color accuracy panels. And one of the things I appreciate is the worst color accuracy you can get on this is a 72% NTSC. Thankfully, you can get the 2560 by 1600 400 nit, low power, 1200 to 1 contrast ratio, and 100% sRGB panel, which to me is like the panel to go after. There is a brighter panel that comes with Privacy Guard, but it's still 1000 to 1 contrast ratio and only 72% NTSC. It is possible, of course, to get this in a touch panel as well. But again, my money would be on that 100% sRGB panel if you can find it. Some of the other things to point out have to do with the CPU configuration. So we do have an i3, an i5, and an i7 available. The i3 is probably best to be avoided. It only comes with the Intel UHD graphics, whereas everything else is Iris Xe, and that is a bit of a difference in terms of performance. Memory, unfortunately, is all soldered on, so it's either 8, 16, or 32 gigabytes of low-power DDR4, and it either would come equipped with 3733 or 4266, depending on the processor to match that. Even if 4266 is installed, it's going to run at 733 megahertz due to the processor limitations. So don't worry your head about it if you have one over the other. It'll make no appreciable difference on the inside. In terms of storage, it's one 2242 NVMe SSD or a 2280. And you have all the standard accoutrement like stereo speakers, which are 2 watts, not very strong, a dual microphone array up at the top of the display, and you have 2 camera options, a 720p with privacy shutter, or like this one, a full HD 1080p with the infrared Windows Hello, which is, again, my personal choice. I love Windows Hello and how quickly it allows you to log into the laptop. So again, we can already tell by looking that this one is pretty decently equipped because of that, and of course we've got the fingerprint reader built into the power button. There were 2 batteries available on the inside of this thing, a 41 watt hour or a 54.7 watt hour battery. And be mindful that the backlit keyboard on these was an option. Look for the pictogram for the backlight if you don't want to be disappointed, and make sure that that has it. These also came in 2 colors. They came in Storm Gray and what's called Villi Black, which is what we see here. This is the standard one that we would expect. And depending on the color, there was a mix of different materials that this chassis would be built out of, from polycarbonate to carbon fiber. So Villi Black, for example, would have carbon fiber or a plastic top with a magnesium keyboard cover and aluminum bottom. Storm Gray would be a mix match of aluminum, magnesium, but they wouldn't have any plastic or carbon fiber components. Wi-Fi, of course, is on board with the card, combined with Bluetooth 5.1, and these would all be wireless 4G LTE capable. So with all that being said, let's just do a quick tour of the ports and features now that we've kind of gone through all those bits. We of course have the track point, generous sized trackpad, our track point buttons and scroll wheel, fingerprint, as well as power button. We've talked about the display up here at the top. And then if we take a look at the ports that we have available, it's two Thunderbolt 4 ports or USB 4 at 40 gigabits per second, and they do support power delivery and DisplayPort 1.4a. We have HDMI 2.0, and all USB-A ports are 3.2 Gen 1 with a headphone microphone combo jack on the side. The back has nothing going on, and then our right-hand side has another USB Type A port, the smart card reader if it's available, and then of course the Kensington lock slot. There won't be a whole lot to see on the inside, but let's flip this over and take it to the document camera to do a little bit of disassembly. All these screws are captive Phillips 1, so getting in is pretty trivial. And I'll just point this out here. That is the reset hole next to that first screw that I've undone, which is used for all sorts of different troubleshooting. Now we'll just take a plastic pry tool to the corner. And there we go. We are on the inside of the machine. So we have, unfortunately, a soldered Wi-Fi card, but that is part of the course with these Intel models of this generation. We have a 2280 NVMe drive there, but you could, of course, fit a shorter drive with an adapter kit. We can see that if we had a WAN card present, it would be here, place to run the antenna wires. We can see underneath the main battery, due to this black and red cable, where our CMOS battery is located. And examining this battery, this is a 39.7 watt-hour battery, which is a little bit weird, given that the spec sheet or the PSREF documentation does not list that battery in this unit. So, very interesting indeed. But realistically, that is all there is to see on the inside here. Not a whole lot going on. The only things that you would really service would be things like battery, CMOS, SSD. Everything else is soldered on. So let's throw the cover back on and do a quick boot test. Alright, there we go. We are in, and look at that. This is the touch panel. Won't be super color accurate, but very, very well equipped for an i5. It's probably the weakest spec out of the whole thing. Yeah, 16 gigs of RAM. It's the i5 1145G7, 2.6 gigahertz. But overall, very, very well equipped machine. And you'll find these, fairly modestly equipped from anywhere as low as 315 Canadian dollars all the way up to brand new, still under warranty. So there's a lot of value still to be had in these machines, and as they start to come off their business warranties, they're going to be even cheaper and more plentiful. So this is probably one to watch if you like the 13-inch form factor, which seems to be harder and harder to get your hands on. Like the latest and greatest X1 Carbon seems to be muscling in on the X1 Nanos territory to the point that they're no longer producing it, which kind of makes me sad, but that's a topic for another day. So I hope you enjoyed this quick look at the ThinkPad X13 Gen 2. The Gen 1 is very similar, just with a different set of older specifications. You might be able to find that even a little cheaper than this. Hope you enjoyed watching, and I will see you next time.